Okay, so this morning we're going to be talking about Excel arrays. And an array is kind of like a range. It's a group of cells horizontally, vertically, that you are working with as if they were one. It's in the computer's memory, and it enables you to create one formula where perhaps you would have had 100 formulas before. So here we'll give you an example of that. So when you create an array, here's a very simple spreadsheet that with quantity, price, total, discount, and so forth. And let's say I want to know what the total sales are, just quantity times price. But rather than create one formula and autofill or create multiple formulas in that way, I want to use arrays to create just one. So I'm going to say equal, just like I would with any formula. I'm going to highlight the quantity. I'm going to say times the price. I'm going to highlight the D column that has the price. Now, the trick with creating an array is when you go to enter your formula, you must do Control-Shift-Enter. You cannot simply enter it. So the Control-Shift-Enter puts these braces or curly brackets around the formula, and you cannot simply type those brackets and then write your formula and then type the end bracket. It won't work. You have to hit Control-Shift-Enter. And so sometimes these formulas are referred to as CSE formulas for Control-Shift-Enter. All right, so what we have now is the same formula multiplying the C by the D for each of these, but we put it in once. And of course, this is a small spreadsheet, but it could be 2,000 rows and formulas. So that's one easy answer. One of the advantages of this is if someone should decide to delete or modify one part, one cell in this array, it won't let you do that. You can't do that. If you wanted to change something, you'd have to go in and change the formula for all of them, and then again use Control-Shift-Enter to complete it. Now, whether we had this, we can highlight all of these, and you can see on the status bar that the sum is 1.5 million approximately. Whether we had these formulas or not, we could also create a single array formula. This is a multiple array formula. Obviously, we have multiple arrays, but we could create it as a single array. So I could do an equal sum. Oops, I need to type sum correctly, however. Equal sum, and I could say take the quantity times the price, just like I would in any formula, and then Control-Shift-Enter, and there is my 1.5. Whether I had these here or not is immaterial because it's not dependent upon this column at all. It's simply taking all of these and multiplying it by all of these and putting the answer in one cell. So that would be a single cell formula as opposed to the multi-cell formula we had before. Okay. We can get even a little bit more, and I've put the formula here so that if you're reviewing it, for instance, from the recorded, you can see it and save it and review it again. And I've done the same thing down here, so we can use a little bit more sophisticated stuff with this as well. If we wanted to answer a question like where the sedans are greater than 30,000 and the price is greater than 30,000, what's the sum of those? So we could do that by an equal sum, open paren, and then the car type formula, all right? And we'll have to put that in paren. And then we're going to multiply that by the unit price being greater than 30,000. Whoops, what happened there? Something happened there. Oh, I know what happened. I don't have this on numlock for some reason. It went off numlock. Okay. Nope. My machine is doing a trick here. and I'm not sure why. Now it's on numlock. Okay, 30,000. All right, so we're going to put that in paren, so we may have to go back and put a few parentheses in here. And then we're going to multiply that by, I took off the total sales though. Okay, we have to do something else here first. So first we have to say, we have to create our original array formula that says equal quantity times price, and Control Shift Enter. And then we can say equal sum of the type of car. No. Where it equals sedan, and since that is a text, I'm putting it in quote marks. And then ending the paren, times the unit price, and where that's greater than 30,000. And then multiply that, and here's where we got stuck because I had removed these formulas by the total sales, and end that with a paren. Now I have a paren, oops, without that one here, around this part, and around this part, and then I need a double one for the whole thing. So this gets a little confusing. Okay, so that's my formula, and now I do Control Shift Enter, and it's telling me 363,000, where the sedan is greater than 30,000, so that's here and here. So it's 33 and 33, and this is 6 of those. So you'd say 200,000, and 5 of these, another 140,000. So you can see that it comes to about that. So that's the formula which we can use. So the arrays can be quite handy because you can imagine how many individual formulas you would have needed to create that without the arrays. Okay. Let's take a look at another sheet here with, again, pretty simple reps and sales and rate percents and so forth. And let's say we want to do a sales times what's the rate, the commission rate. So we can do that by saying D, selecting the D, and then doing the formula here, E, and then we can do take B column times the rate in the C column, and then Control Shift Enter, and here we have the commissions for each one, and again we have the exact same formula. Now here's something that makes it even easier. I'm going to delete these formulas, and I want to show you that I have named the ranges in all of these cases already, which was easy to do if you just select all of these and go to formula and create from selection. That would create the range names in the top row for the data underneath it, which was already done. So all I'd have to do here is say equal sales times rate, and Control Shift Enter, and there we go. So even if you have a huge number of items, if you name the ranges, you can do that pretty easily. It works nicely. Okay. Now, let's take a look at for commission. So this is what we did at first. We just named the B, we just selected this range and then multiplied the B range by the C range here. Or we selected the D, same thing, and did sales times rate. Or if we wanted to say how many reps made quota, okay, so this is the quota. So we can use equal sum, and then we can say sales greater than quota, because that's also a named range, times 1. And we'd have to go back and put another open paren here. So it's just tricky to count how many parens you have. Sum of sales greater than or equal to, that was my quota, okay, times 1, and then Control-Shift-Enter, and it gives us 3. And since this is the quota, and we can see this one made it, and this one made it, and this one made it, so that's 3. So it gave us that formula. And again, much easier that we have the names, otherwise we could have done it like that. Okay. So the arrays can make it very simple to take a large amount of data when you're doing a formula and use all of it at once and create the same formula in multiple places. And again, if I try to modify something, I'll go back to the car sales one. If I try to modify one, number or something in here, it's going to give me an error because I can't do that. I have to change everything. If I decided to do this and modify the formula, then I could do it. And then as long as I used a Control-Shift-Enter to save it. Okay. So, helpful rules here. When you're creating the array formula, and since this is 1, I'm going to delete it now. You need to select the area in which you, just like with any formula, you want to select the cell or the range of cells where you want your answer, because that's where it's going to be. So select your result area first. You need to, if you get an error about not being able to change a range, you change something in the Excel, in the array formula, it's because you need to make a change to the entire formula, to all of them, not just to one. Okay, one item within it. You can move or delete an entire array formula, but you can't move or delete part of it, just like you can't modify part of it. So you'd have to remove the formula and start all over again if you want to modify the range of it. Disadvantages of an array. First of all, a lot of people don't understand what an array is. People can use Excel for years and years and years and never use it, don't know about it, don't know how to do it. And so they can be puzzled by these curly brackets and not understand how to use them and what they're for. So you need to make sure the people you're working with understand what that means if you're sharing formulas and you're sharing files. So either you have to explain it to your coworkers who are going to be working with your files or looking at your files, or you have to avoid using them. But one of the things, it's easy to forget doing the Control-Shift-Enter. But of course, if you do a regular enter, you're not going to get an array formula. And large arrays can save you a great deal of time. They can also, depending upon processor speed and memory, slow down a little bit what you're doing. So you have to test it out on your files and see if the advantages, would typically outweigh the disadvantages. But for instance, the array formula here is replacing a formula you would do here, all of this. So it obviously is a lot shorter and easier, especially if you're naming your ranges and using the range names. It kind of makes the formulas a lot easier to understand when you're doing a name. You know, it's easier to understand sales times rate than some, you know, C15 to 35 and so forth. So that's a little bit about array formulas, and we've done a couple of examples to show you what they are. And as I said, I put the formulas on here so you can go through it yourself and practice it if you're looking at the recording. So I want to thank everybody for your attention. And I do training for corporate groups or for individuals, and you can reach me at 203-329-2421 or at computertrainingsolutions.biz. Let's start.